So I'm Larry Orman, and I'm the manager of the StanislausRiver.org website. And I'm going to go through about 45 minutes of kind of showing you what's under the hood with the site and things you can do. I'll start off with some basics and then go into a little bit more about how to explore. And then I want to pull and do some more specific, interesting searches and show you a couple other things. And then at the end, I want to talk to you a little bit about this idea of us moving more toward a story framework for the site and get your thinking about that. So you know that this is generally the website, and the the general structure of the site has a couple basic elements to it. It has this explore function that I'll get to in a second, and then it has these other things about highlights and learning more. The blog isn't very active, but this is kind of the basic part of the site. In addition to it, there is a newsletter that comes out roughly 4 times a year. And if you're all on that newsletter list because that's how you would have gotten here. But anybody can sign up by just clicking down here. It's a fairly lightweight newsletter, but it tries to keep you up to what's going on. In addition, there's a Facebook page, and that Facebook page is something that was set up sometime back. And I'll go to a different piece here. It's called the Stanislaus River Guides page, and if you have interest in it, you can find it. I'll post the page in the chat in a little bit, but it's got some interesting stuff. People comment here and there. It's not a highly active site, but it is an interesting site. And Roy Tennant had set it up, who had done the original work on the Stanislaus Archive. And then lastly, there's this effort that I'll mention about restoring the Stanislaus, and this is a parallel effort to the archive. The archive is really all about what was there, and this is about efforts to do things that maybe find some way of restoring the river. There is a session for this group, a symposium coming up in April, which you can find on their website. And it's also available on one of the pages that I'll mention here before. So the other thing that is kind of very basic that I think I want to call your attention to is there's an 8-minute movie that I put together based on the book that was published about all the Stanislaus stuff. And that movie is just images of the river from Camp 9 on down. And it's really a great little thing to kind of resurrect your own memory of the river. As we go through our lives, and it's easy to get to. You just can get there by clicking the down here, or you can go to the Learn page, and the Highlights page, and it's noted right here, this 8-minute video. But it's if you haven't done it or you haven't done it recently, it's a really fun way to go back and just see what was there. It's just pictures and a little bit of music that takes you downriver. If you show it in YouTube, you should use the settings to choose the best quality, and then it'll kind of walk you down and just show you what was there. So we're not gonna play that, but it's a good way to remember the good things of what was on the river. Now, the pieces that I did want to call your attention to off this homepage are the highlights page, which if you haven't ever used it, it's just great. There are 25 or 30 preset searches that allow you to kind of pick these subjects. The epic runs in January 1980 when the river hit 30 or 40,000, poems about the Stanislaus, all the Pro-Dam people, Headwaters magazine, things about river guides, the witness and encampment. Any number of these things are preset as searches. And one of the interesting ones that is, which again I'll talk about later, is this ability to sort your results by the time in which they actually occurred. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But that's the sort of big picture about the website. And I'll come back to the Learn page more. It has some individual things. But the crux of it is this, the Explore function. In the past, this page, which has 2,600 photos, books, videos, other things now, it's gotten quite big. It used to take a long time to load, and my good buddies at Green Info Network have found a way to speed that up a lot. So now, even if you're on your phone, it should load pretty quickly. And once it does, then your searches go really fast. So the way that this works, and I'll just choose this first one thing that Brenda helped put up. You click on it, it opens in a new window, and it shows you the item, and it'll be either a document or a picture or a link to a web page or a YouTube video. And that item then has various things on it. It can have links to other things. And you can download the item yourself right here by clicking on this. It'll give you the full resolution picture. You can send us an email about it, or you can share the link. You can also just copy the link up here and paste it to someone if you want. So it's really a neat way to just quickly engage with items as you go through. Now, there's a different way to look at items, and it's best if you have a search, but I'll just do it without that. What's called the grid view shows all these things, and you can scroll down and it will scroll for a long time because there's a lot of items. But you can also use the map view. The map view shows you where everything is that has a location, and it shows you the canyon as it was when you finally zoom in 2015 or so, when the river went down far enough so that much of the canyon was exposed. Once you hit the lower part of the canyon, you see a log jam, and it's all reservoir from here on out. But in this way, you can just simply go into some place, and let's just pick this. Oh, this is Razorback Camp. If I click on that little icon, it'll show me all of the photographs we have of Razorback Camp. And I can do even more interesting stuff by zooming in. Now in this satellite picture, it was a shadow, so it's a little hard to see the sandbar here, but the rapid is here. The Fern Grotto, Maidenhair Fern Grotto is here. If you go further up and want to look at other camps, there's various things here. There's jumping rocks below Mother Rapid, the big limestone rocks that you could jump off. And here's the pictures. Once I click on it, here's Mother Camp, Mother Rapid. So anyway, it's not the river the way we knew it, because the reservoir has taken out the vegetation along the river. But it is an interesting way to remember, oh yeah, this is that. And you can use that to kind of go on down. At any time, by the way, you notice that when I came back, it had my search of Mother, and I just clicked clear filters to get back to having everything in front of me. I'm going to show you later a very special way of going and looking at the river using Google Earth, but we won't go there quite yet. Now, I mentioned before about the searches and such, and I'll use the highlights as a way of thinking about that. There are a couple searches here that are really worth knowing about. One is what's called the special portfolio, which is really selected images and documents. It's kind of the creme de la creme of the website, and it has some really great stuff in it. If you just want to do a quick browse through anytime, this is kind of the best of the best. And it's going. But the other stuff you can do now is you can sort the way that the Explore function presents to you. And the really cool thing that we did was that we found a way to have it sort by river journey going down. So there's a lot of ways you can sort. Its default is the newest things show up. You could reverse that and see the oldest things. You could sort by document date, the newest first, the oldest first. Title isn't very useful. Location name is kind of fun. But river journey going down or going from the bottom and going up is the really fun part of this. So I can click this, river journey going down, and now it's going to think for a minute. And I'm going to limit this a little bit because I only want to see photographs. So I'm going to choose under Format, Photograph. And then I'm also going to choose Status. Status is our shorthand for the river before it was dammed. That's the live river. and the river after it was dammed. And that includes other things that happened after the river. But this way, I'm only seeing photographs of the river the way it was. And it shows me that there are 2,200 things that are locationally placed along the river. And you can see going down, I'm at Camp 9, I'm at Camp 9. There's a whole bunch of stuff at Camp 9 put in. And as I go down, eventually I'm going to get off Camp 9. It'll take a while. There's a lot of the photographs that were taken at Camp 9. But eventually I'm going to get to Cadillac Charlie and then down to the rapids below that. So you can literally go through what is in that short movie that is only 8 minutes and only has a few hundred images. And you can do it in great detail by using the down the river function. Here we're setting off in Cadillac Charlie, and we're going down in Rock Garden. And anyway, so it's a way of sorting everything on the site by river journey going down. And if you want to go up the river, you click on that. The way this gets this is that the items that we know about are tagged with the location name. And over in search, you can see all those locations. There's a lot of them. But there's Abbey's Ferry, Boatman's Rock, Cadillac Gulch, any number of places. And every photo or document or video that takes place in one of these locations is tagged to that location. So you could just click on these and it would change your view here. If I were to clear all my filters and just go back and say, well, I just want to look at Mother Rapid. So I open up location and I go down, scroll down to Mother Rapid, and there it is right there. I click on it, and now everything about Mother Rapid is in front of me. So it's a neat way to kind of jump through, and you can choose a bunch of these if you want and go through it. So those are particular kinds of searches, but there's another, wait, there's more. There's another search you can do, which is using keyword. Keyword are subjects that group together photographs. So for instance, camp, anything that is a picture, video, or whatever at a camp is shown in this view. So Echo Rafts tied up at Razorback Camp, various other camps at Marty's Camp here. Or these are, remember, we're still in our sort order of river journey going down. It will stay in that sort order until we change it back. So for example, if I just go, well, let's go about upload. So now it's going to be camps based on the upload date. And I'm still saying 100 items about camps. So I can choose any number of these subjects. There's a great many subjects. One of the new ones that we've added is called Meaning of the Stand. And that's ones where we've taken mostly memoirs and other things that are more evocative narratives about the importance of the river. And right now there's only a few of these, and this is especially with our stories where we hope to expand these more. But just exploring the keywords is really a neat way to do that.
Ooh.
So there's other things, there's collections, which it really is only useful if you were interested in what somebody like Bill Center, rest his soul, who had pictures. And so these are Bill's pictures, and you can sort of see that. You can also get a lot of these, really collection often means the author, and you can find a way to do that by just using this box up here. So if I want to say Bill Center, I just type Bill Center and it searches. And again, there are Bill Center's things where he has taken pictures of. Now, one of the easiest ways to search is here up in the text. And I can just go, okay, let's see. How about, since we've got one of them on the call, Tishner. Oh, wait, here's all these pictures of Tishners. Steve, his brother, Jimbo, his sister, Paula, his brother, John. And all of these are easy to find because it's searching everything in titles or in, if I search for myself, I'll find there's 39 of them. And so anytime I'm mentioned or I did something, I'm an author of something, it will show up here. So it's a real quick, easy way to kind of go, hey, is there anybody here I know? And you can do that. The other interesting way to do this is by date range. And again, any of these things can be combined. So if I say 05, 01, 1979 to 06, 01, 1979, well, I happen to know that these are interesting times for the river, and I have to click search. This is a time in which the river was under heavy threat. Mark had chained himself, so there's a bunch of stuff about him being chained to the rock below Parrott's Ferry. But I could pick and choose any number of individual dates and look and say, well, I really want to find things that are in that time period. So these are all ways you have of being able to kind of search through the site. And again, with any one of these, if I click on the details of something like Brenda's story with Jane Fonda, if it's a one-page PDF, it'll actually show on the site, but I can actually download the whole PDF if I click here. It's just one page. It's really a good way to kind of take things and take them offline when you want to take a look. One of the, just a quick side trip here, one of the interesting things that we've done recently is during the fight for the river, there was an encampment down below the Parrots Ferry Bridge in which scores of people gathered to try to signify their protest of the river flooding. It happened in April and March and April of 1979. But that document, there was a journal that was created, and that document is now here online. It's many pages, but it has the contemporary writing, March 26, 1979, of people who were there. And it's really amazing to read the passion in these things. There's 40 or 50 entries here, and this is really what was happening for these people. It's very, very moving to go through this and see all that. The number of people who made entries are all listed here, and various scenes of what was doing there. So it's a neat extra piece. Both Alexander Gagin, who helped really make this happen, and Mark Dubois have written special prefaces for it when we go. So search gets you a lot, but there's, again, there's more. And one of the ways of going at that is to go to the Learn page. And right now, there are 3 items on Learn. There's resources, which really have to do with organizational connections, books that are on the site. The Tim Palmer's book is on the whole website. You can download it, A Guide to 3 Rivers, the great guide-driven guide is there. And then there are other sort of inside and outside things, but many of these things are things that are on the site. They're just easy to find here. There's even, for those who care about it, and I'll show this, GIS data about the website that's here. But the piece on the Learn side that really is very interesting is the timeline. So everything that happened from 1905, when Camp 9 the road was constructed, up until 2015, roughly, is time anchored here. And you just select, drag, click, and it opens up, and you see when was the first time anybody proposed protecting rivers? When did Bryce Whitmore first start on the Stanislaus? Apparently, it was early May 1962. It's a little funky because once you zoom in, you have to click here to reset, and then you click again. But any one of these periods has all this stuff going on in which you can sort of see what's happening. And right now, we don't link you out from these things to the website, and we may be able to do that in the future. But it's a good way to go through and look at all of the specifics and how they happened along the way. The other piece of the learn that is sometimes useful for people is what I showed on the map view of the river, but it's in a chart view, just like the timeline. These are all of the places on the river geocoded to their exact location. So this is, we now know exactly that Mother Camp was at 3.4 miles below the Camp 9 put in. And again, you can go through, and if you're not sure of what was where, this is a great way to do it. But having said that, anytime you want to really do it in this way, you can simply pull up the map, zoom out, and you'll see rapids. There are these orange chevrons, features, these little green things, and then camps, which are camp logos. So for instance, you can see up here, up Rose Creek, you can see various things here. Um, the first pool up Rose Creek. If I click on that, it'll take a minute and it'll sort through and give me all the pictures we have of that first pool up the river. So you can browse this map in and out and really kind of remind yourself of what was where pretty easily. So I'm going to clear my filters just so it doesn't have that anymore. And I'm going to go back to my grid. Other things kind of just coming out on the website. The blog is very minor. We do just a few things, but if you ever try to kind of think about doing posts to the website, which you can do, or you can just contact us and we'll do it for you. There's some good information here. Now, I mentioned before about something very interesting. The GIS data that we have can be placed into Google Earth. And again, for those who really want to go in, all of these locations can be seen in Google Earth when you set it to October of 2016, which is where the river is opened up down to just right about Sierra Club. So all of those things I was showing before, you can zoom way, way in and you can see and just move along in the way you can with this. So here was Shark's Mouth right here. Once you get down right on the river, Google Earth gets a little goofy with its elevations. So things like what's right on the river is a little hard to tell. But it does provide a really neat way to go back and kind of see the canyon again. It won't look exactly like it did before, but you can really kind of move up and see different things. And here's Chinese camp, lower Chinese camp. Again, they're wrecked. They're they're destroyed. Here's Duck Bar up here. But it does give you that ability to kind of go back in your brain and think about Coral Cave. Here's Coral Cave right up here. So this is kind of like extra sauce. It's just an extra little thing where you can kind of revisit the canyon again if you have access to Google Earth. The file for this is noted on that resources page. So let me stop there. And that's pretty much the broad overview that I want to do of the site, and just ask if anybody has comments or questions that we can get to. And then once we go through that a little bit, then I'd like to sort of do two things, talk a little bit about the story approach, and then finally show you something that's coming up that's really pretty interesting. And hopefully in another few months, we'll be able to have it online and working. But anyway, let me stop there.